Who are the 8 types of people destroying your happiness in old age? Imagine you're in your 70s, sitting in your living room, sipping tea on a quiet afternoon. Life has slowed down, and you value peace more than ever. But suddenly your phone rings. It's an old friend who always brings drama, complaints, and negativity. Every call leaves you feeling drained, but out of habit you keep picking up. Now picture a different scenario. Your phone rings, but this time it's someone who brings laughter, wisdom, and positivity. The conversation flows easily, filled with light moments, thoughtful insights, and mutual respect. You hang up feeling energized and inspired. But why? Because you've learned to choose the right people, those who uplift you, share their wisdom, and encourage joy in your life. There are 8 types of people you must avoid in your old age. Those who bring chaos, stress, or unnecessary baggage. The wrong people can steal your peace, but the right ones will nurture your soul. At this stage, peace is priceless, and you have the power to choose who deserves a seat at your table. But before we jump into the first type, subscribe to the channel, because in the next video, I will tell you about 10 things you should never do when you wake up. Let's dive in. Number 1. The constant complainer. Imagine this. You're at your best friend's destination wedding at a beautiful beach resort. The sun is setting, painting the sky with shades of pink and orange, and a soft breeze carries the sound of waves crashing in the distance. You're standing with a group of friends, soaking in the beauty of the moment, when suddenly, the constant complainer shows up. Without skipping a beat, they say, "Ugh, the food is cold. Why is the venue so far from the city? The bride's dress isn't even that nice." As they continue, it feels like the lively energy of the event starts to fade. You begin to feel weighed down by their endless complaints. You might think it's just harmless grumbling, but studies indicate that being around constant negativity can impact our mental health. In fact, research from the Journal of Gerontology suggests that being surrounded by negativity regularly can increase the risk of developing stress-related issues. It's like negativity spreads, slowly eroding our inner peace. The famous psychologist Martin Seligman once said, "Happiness isn't the absence of problems, but the ability to deal with them." However, the constant complainer seems to have forgotten this, always focused on what's wrong instead of enjoying what's right. So, how can you protect your positive vibes? Imagine having an invisible positivity filter. When someone begins to complain, mentally switch it on. This filter blocks out negativity while letting in only constructive feedback or positive energy. It's not about ignoring genuine concerns, it's about managing how much weight you give to needless complaining. After all, life isn't perfect, but as the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not events that disturb us, but our perception of them." You've chosen to change your perception. While the constant complainer is stuck in their loop, you've found your peace. Number 2. The obsessive controller. Imagine this, it's a family road trip. You're driving with your spouse and kids to a beautiful mountain cabin for a much-needed vacation. The weather is perfect, the car is loaded with snacks, and the kids are excited. But just as you start to relax, the obsessive controller takes the wheel, not literally, but emotionally. Did you pack enough snacks for the kids? Are you sure the cabin has Wi-Fi? What if the kids get bored? Shouldn't we have left earlier to avoid traffic? Their constant barrage of questions starts to shift the mood in the car, from excitement to stress. You begin to feel like you're no longer on vacation, but navigating a checklist of what could go wrong. It's easy to understand why the obsessive controller behaves this way. They're driven by fear, the fear that if everything isn't meticulously planned, something might go wrong. But as you listen to them, you can sense how this need for control is affecting the atmosphere, replacing the joy of the moment with tension. Psychologist John Gottman, an expert in relationships, found that excessive control is a leading cause of conflict, with couples who experience high levels of control being 93% more likely to separate. It's clear, control isn't the answer. Now imagine this instead. You're still on that road trip, but this time, you trust the journey. The kids are happily chatting in the back seat, and you and your spouse are enjoying the drive. Knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way, you trust that the trip doesn't need to be perfect to be fun. Epictetus once said, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and others are not." Letting go of control doesn't mean carelessness. It means trusting yourself and those around you. Think of a time when you tried to control every aspect of a situation. Did it bring peace, or did it create stress? What if, instead of controlling every detail, you allowed some space for spontaneity? Maybe instead of obsessively planning the trip, you could relax and trust that your family will enjoy the experience, even if things don't go perfectly. Psychologist Carl Rogers once said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." The same goes for relationships. When we let go of control and trust others, we create room for deeper connection. The best moments in life, like a surprise stop at a scenic overlook or an unplanned roadside picnic, are often the ones that aren't planned. Life's unpredictable beauty often shines through when we loosen the reins and let the journey unfold. As Paulo Coelho wisely said, freedom is not the absence of commitments, but the ability to choose. So what if we focused less on controlling the future and more on enjoying the present? True joy comes when we trust ourselves and those we love. Maybe it's time to let go a little and embrace the unexpected moments. After all, the magic of any relationship lies in the freedom to be ourselves. When we release control, we create space for authenticity, joy, and deeper connections to thrive. Before we move on to the next type of person, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you love this kind of content, drop a comment saying, "I love these videos." Let's continue learning and improving our lives together. Number 3, the never-ending gossiper. Imagine this, you're at the office enjoying a coffee break in the lounge with a few co-workers. The conversation is light, people are laughing, and it's a much-needed break from the usual stress of work. Then the never-ending gossiper strolls in, sipping their coffee, and slides into the conversation. At first, it's just small talk, harmless chatter about the upcoming weekend, but then they lower their voice and lean in closer. "Did you hear about Mark in accounting? Apparently he's been in trouble with HR. Again. And I heard they're talking about letting him go." You notice the shift in the room. What was once a cheerful break has turned into a hushed, uncomfortable silence. You didn't ask for these details, but now the gossip has spread to you, leaving an uneasy feeling. It's moments like these that erode trust and camaraderie in the workplace. What if Mark found out this was being said behind his back? He would feel betrayed, and the entire dynamic of the office could be affected. Gossip, especially in professional settings, not only tarnishes reputations, but also destroys the sense of teamwork that's essential for success. According to social psychologist Nicholas DeFonso, a specialist in rumors and gossip, gossip can act as a form of social control, but at a steep cost. It chips away at trust, the very foundation of any relationship. So, why do people gossip so compulsively? According to research from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, people often gossip to fill a void in their own lives. Instead of focusing on their own growth or building meaningful connections, they spread rumors to feel relevant or interesting. But as philosopher Socrates taught, there's a simple test to determine if something is worth sharing. His triple filter test asks, is it true? Is it good? Is it useful? If the answer to at least 2 of these is no, then it's better left unsaid. Imagine how much drama and conflict we could avoid if everyone used this test before speaking. So, how can you protect yourself from the never-ending gossiper without alienating yourself from social gatherings? Here's what you can do. Set boundaries. If someone starts gossiping, gently tell them you'd rather not engage in that kind of conversation. Change the subject. Steer the conversation towards something positive or neutral. Practice empathy. Ask yourself, how would the person being gossiped about feel if they were here? This shift in perspective can guide your response. Be the change. Instead of feeding the gossip, share positive stories. As Mother Teresa said, kind words can be short and easy to speak, but their echoes are truly endless. Guard your secrets. Remember, if someone gossips to you, they'll likely gossip about you too. A wise poet once said, "Before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind?" This timeless wisdom is more relevant than ever in today's fast-paced world, where gossip can spread faster than ever before. At the end of the day, life is too short to waste on negativity and rumors. It's far better to build trust, nurture positive connections, and choose words that uplift, not tear down. Number 4, the hidden envious one. Envy is like a poison that corrodes the soul. But what if it hides behind the mask of friendship? Let's uncover how to recognize and protect ourselves from the secret envious, a character who may be much closer than you think. Picture someone who is always by your side during moments of success, offering smiles and congratulations. Yet, something feels off, a shadow in their eyes, a subtle tone in their voice that doesn't quite match their words. This is the secret envious, a person who, despite appearing supportive, might be quietly undermining your well-being. The secret envious is like a parasitic vine wrapped around a strong tree. At first it seems harmless, even beautiful, but beneath the surface, it's draining the tree's vitality, feeding off its success. In the garden of your life, it's crucial to recognize and manage these emotional weeds before they take root. Stoic philosophy gives us valuable insight into the nature of envy. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "Envy is the enemy of the fortunate." This reminds us that envy often arises when someone feels threatened by what others have achieved. But what happens when that envy is hidden beneath the guise of friendship? Social psychologist Leon Festinger's social comparison theory helps explain why envy arises. People evaluate themselves by comparing their lives to those around them. The secret envious takes this comparison to the extreme, viewing your successes as a threat to their own sense of worth. So, how can you spot this hidden envious character in your life? Here are some telling signs. Superficial compliments. Their praise feels hollow, like they're saying the words without meaning them. Quick topic, change. They quickly divert the conversation when your successes are mentioned. Hidden competition. They always seem to have a story to one-up yours, subtly making it a competition. Joy at your failures. They show a little too much excitement when things go wrong for you. Once you've identified the secret envious, what can you do? Cutting ties isn't always an option, especially if it's a close friend, family member, or colleague. Instead, you can adopt a wiser and more compassionate approach. Practice empathy. Understand that envy often comes from insecurity and fear. As philosopher Bertrand Russell said, envy is one of the most universal and disintegrating of human emotions. Recognizing this can help you respond with compassion rather than resentment. Cultivate gratitude. The more grateful you are for what you have, the less their negativity will affect you. Keep a gratitude journal and write down 3 things you're thankful for each day. Set healthy boundaries. You don't need to share all your successes or plans with the secret envious. Learn to be selective with what you share. Strengthen your self-esteem. The more secure you are in yourself, the less someone else's envy will touch you. Celebrate your achievements, no matter how big or small, without needing external validation. Practice compassion. Sometimes, showing kindness to someone struggling with envy can change the dynamic. As the Dalai Lama said, "Be kind whenever possible. It is always possible." Remember, the goal is not to become indifferent to others' emotions, but to develop the emotional resilience needed to navigate these turbulent waters with grace and wisdom. Before we move on to the next type of person, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you love this kind of content, drop a comment saying, "I love these videos." Let's continue learning and improving our lives together. Number 5. The person who accumulates attention. This is the person who turns every conversation into a monologue about themselves, as if they possess an invisible microphone amplifying their voice while muting everyone else's. Sound familiar? Perhaps it's that friend who always seems to top every story, or a family member who persistently interrupts to brag about their latest achievement. But why is this behavior particularly problematic as we age? Imagine you're at a gathering with old friends. Everyone is eager to share memories and stories, but the attention hoarder dominates the conversation, leaving no space for others. Over time, This monopolizing can lead to frustration, social isolation, and the erosion of relationships, especially important when we need meaningful connections most. Clinical psychologist Dr. Ramani Dovasula describes these individuals as conversational narcissists. They treat every interaction as a chance to boost their ego, often disregarding the emotional needs of others. This isn't just annoying, it has real consequences. A study published in the Journal of Gerontology found that older adults who maintain balanced, reciprocal relationships are 50% less likely to develop depression. In other words, surrounding yourself with good listeners is crucial for emotional well-being. So, how can you handle the attention hoarder without withdrawing from social life altogether? Here are some practical strategies. Set clear boundaries. When the attention hoarder dominates, gently interrupt and say, "That sounds interesting. I'd love to share my experience too." Use the sandwich technique. Place your comments between theirs. For instance, "Your trip sounds exciting. It reminds me of when I..." Redirect with questions. Shift the focus by asking other participants questions. For example, "What's your opinion on this, John?" Arrange group gatherings. It's harder for one person to dominate when more voices are present. A larger group often balances the conversation. Value your time. If efforts to engage them don't work, it's okay to limit your time with them. Seek out relationships where there is mutual respect and listening. Remember the wisdom of Stoic philosopher Epictetus. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Perhaps this is a good reminder for the attention hoarder in your life. However, not all is lost. Often behind attention-seeking behavior lies insecurity and a deep need for validation. Instead of avoiding them, use this as an opportunity to practice compassion and patience. With gentle guidance and encouragement, they might become better listeners over time. Number 6. The self-interested opportunist. Imagine a friendship that blossoms only when things are going smoothly, but disappears at the first sign of trouble. Sound familiar? Welcome to the world of the opportunist, the kind of person who orbits your life like a whimsical satellite. They draw closer when they sense there's something to gain, but the moment the road gets tough, they vanish without a trace. It's like having a GPS that works perfectly on easy routes, but shuts down when you need it most. The Greek philosopher Aristotle warned us about these kinds of relationships in his Nicomachean Ethics. He distinguished between friendships based on utility and those rooted in the true virtue. Opportunistic friendships dissolve easily when the benefits fade, as the opportunist cares more about what they can gain than about true connection. Imagine your life as a grand celebration. The opportunist is that guest who appears right when the cake is being served, but mysteriously disappears when it's time to clean up. Sound familiar? It's like having a vampire friend, but instead of feeding on your blood, they thrive on your success and fortune. Psychologist Susan Krauss-Whitborn, an expert in adult development and aging, explains that these relationships can be especially harmful as we age. As we grow older, we crave more authentic connections. Superficial or opportunistic friendships can lead to feelings of loneliness and disconnection, even when we're surrounded by people. But all is not lost. Just as we develop a knack for spotting a bad deal at the store, we can learn to recognize opportunists in our lives. Here are a few tips. Observe patterns. Do they only call when they need something or when things are going well for you? Analyze reciprocity. Is the relationship balanced, or are you always the one giving? Pay attention to your energy. Do you feel drained after interacting with this person? If so, that's a red flag. Psychologist William James once said, "The art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook." When it comes to opportunists, perhaps wisdom lies in knowing when to say no, and when to invest your time and energy into more genuine relationships. But be careful not to let cynicism take over. It's not about closing your heart to new friendships, it's about being selective. Seek out relationships that nourish you in all seasons, not just when the sun is shining. As writer and philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson beautifully said, "The only way to have a friend is to be one." The key is to cultivate within yourself the qualities you desire in others: loyalty, authenticity, and commitment. Number 7. The vibrant vampire. Have you ever found yourself feeling drained and exhausted after spending time with someone, even if it was just a brief encounter? Unfortunately, there are individuals who are like emotional leeches, sapping your energy without you even realizing it. Imagine this. You attend a family reunion, excited to catch up with loved ones. You've been looking forward to reconnecting and sharing stories, but one particular relative seems to dominate every conversation with their never-ending list of problems and complaints. As the hours go by, you start to feel a growing sense of fatigue and weariness. This is a clear sign of encountering an energetic vampire. Psychologist Albert H. Bernstein, in his book Emotional Vampires, describes these individuals as those who constantly seek attention and sympathy, leaving others feeling drained and depleted. They thrive on creating drama and focusing on their own issues, often neglecting to show genuine concern or empathy for others. Why is this particularly dangerous as we age? Our energy reserves naturally decrease over time, and maintaining high levels of vitality is crucial for overall well-being. A study published in the Journal of Gerontology found that older adults who actively protect their energy and maintain a positive outlook are 35% less likely to face chronic health issues. Essentially, your vitality isn't just about feeling good. It's vital for your physical and emotional health. The Greek philosopher Aristotle once said, "The energy of the mind is the essence of life." In your later years, this energy fuels your passions, relationships, and enjoyment of life. Allowing an energetic vampire to deplete this resource is akin to handing over your keys to happiness. It's important to distinguish between people who genuinely need support and those who repeatedly drain your energy without reciprocating. An energetic vampire is a consistent presence of negativity, always in need but never giving back. Sound familiar? Perhaps it's that friend who always seeks comfort but never asks how you're doing, or a family member who turns every conversation into a sob story. But don't worry. Just as there are ways to guard against mythical creatures, there are strategies to protect yourself from energetic vampires without shutting yourself off from others. One effective technique is what I call the energy shield visualization. Before engaging with a known energetic vampire, imagine yourself surrounded by a protective bubble of light. This shield allows positive energy to flow in, but deflects negativity and emotional drain. While this might sound a bit mystical, cognitive psychology supports that visualizations can positively impact your emotional well-being. Another strategy is the reflective response technique. When the energetic vampire begins to unload negativity, gently reflect their feelings back in a constructive way. For example, you might say, "I hear that you're having a tough time. Have you thought about finding a solution or seeking support?" This approach not only helps maintain your energy, but can encourage them to consider a more positive outlook. Remember, your energy in old age is like a treasure trove of experiences and joy. Don't let anyone deplete it. As the poet Rumi wisely said, "You are a goldmine hidden within yourself." Don't go begging around the corners of the universe. Find your own treasure. In your later years, you have the power to choose who you spend your time with. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, bring positivity, and contribute to your well-being. Just as you would tend to a garden, prune away the negative influences and nurture those that enrich your life. After all, your golden years should be filled with vitality, joy, and meaningful connections. And if you've made it this far, congratulations. Thanks for watching. If you've made it to the end, I want to hear from you. Comment below with "I choose to be this point," so I know who the true champions are. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more insightful content like this. Share this video with your loved ones so they can start implementing this wisdom today.